Physics is the science of matter and its motion, the science that deals with concepts such as force, energy, mass, and charge. As an experimental science, its goal is to understand the natural world. The motion of a body is observed by attaching a frame of reference to an observer and measuring the change in position of the body relative to that frame with the change in time. The branch of physics describing the motion of objects without reference to cause it is kinematics. The branch studying forces and their effect on motion is called dynamics. If an object is not changing relatively to a given frame of reference, the object is said to be at rest, motionless, immobile, stationary, or to have a constant or time-invariant position with reference to its surroundings. As there is no absolute frame of reference, absolute motion cannot be determined. Thus, everything in the universe can be considered to be in motion. Motion applies to various physical systems, to objects, bodies, matter particles, matter fields, radiation, radiation fields, radiation particles, curvature, and space-time. One can also speak of motion of images, shapes, and boundaries. So the term motion in general signifies a continuous change in the position or configuration of a physical system in space. For example, one can talk about the motion of a wave or about the motion of a quantum particle where the configuration consists of probabilities of occupying specific positions. So that's a brief explanation of our topic motion. For the first trial, it will be performed by Shenet PAMINTUAN.
So ayun po, ito yung 10 meters hanggang dun sa bote. So now, maglalakad tayo and jogging and running.
Trial, it will be performed by Chrisalyn de Vera.
Topic po namin is motion. So, yung first step na ginawa po namin is nag-measure po kami ng 10 meters. And then, yung 10 meters po na yun, dun po namin ginawa yung walking, jogging, and running.
For the last trial, it will be performed by DIZON.
guys, today I'm going to talk about the datasheet, the calculation, and the conclusion part. But first, let us talk about the datasheet. So in our activity, we have 3 trials, and each trial they perform walking, jogging, and running on a 10-meter distance. So from the starting point until the end point of that 10-meter distance, they recorded their time. So to explain further about the datasheet, let us go to the datasheet itself that will be shown on the screen. So as you can see, we have same distance in each trial, which is 10 meters, and we have 3 trials, and each trial it was performed by different group members. So in trial 1, it was performed by Shane, and in walking, she has 10.39 seconds. In jogging, she has 7.03 seconds. In running, she has 4.54 seconds. And in the trial 2, it was performed by Chrisalyn. In walking, he has 7.76 seconds. In jogging, she has 5.21 seconds. And in running, she has 3.68 seconds. And the trial 3, it was performed by Mario. And in walking, he has 9.56 seconds. In jogging, he has 3.98 seconds. In running, he has 3.07 seconds. So when we get the data, from the starting point until the end point of the 10-meter distance, it will be recorded when you perform walking, jogging, or running. So this time and the distance will be used in our calculation part when we will get the velocity. So now I'm gonna discuss the calculation part. In our calculation, we will get the velocity, and in order to get the velocity, we must have the distance and the time. And our unit for distance that we will be using is meters, and in time, it will be seconds. And the final unit for velocity is meter per seconds. And the formula that we will be using in our calculation is V equals D over time, which means distance over time. So let's go ahead to the calculation part. So here in the calculation part, in order to get the velocity of each trial, we must have the formula, and the formula is just the same throughout. And the formula, just like I said a while ago, is just V equals D over time, which is distance divided by time. So in walking, in trial 1, he had a velocity of 0.96 meter per second. In the second trial in walking, he had 1.29 meter per second velocity. And in the last trial in walking, he had a velocity of 1.05 meter per second. And now in the jogging part, trial 1 had a velocity of 1.42 meter per second. Trial 2 had a velocity of 1.92 meter per second. Trial 3 had a velocity of 2.51 meter per second in the jogging aspect. And in the running part, trial 1 had a 2.20 meter per second. Trial 2 had a 2.72 meter per second. And trial 3 had a 3.26 meter per second in the running part. As you can see, comparing it, walking had a low velocity, but running had a higher velocity. Later on in the conclusion part, it will be more explained why is walking had a low velocity and running had a high velocity. So this is the last part of our video, which is the conclusion part. So after conducting the activity, we end up concluding that when we run, it gives us a high velocity, comparing it to jogging and walking. Why? Because when we run, we create more momentum and speed that can give us a short amount of time. So here in our activity, the distance here is constant, which is 10 meters. So the only factor that can affect the result of the velocity here is just the time. So which means if we will have a long period of time, just like in the walking and jogging aspect, it can give us a low velocity. And if we will have a short period of time, just like in the running aspect, it can give us a high velocity. So in short, when we run, we we create a small period of time, which led us to having a high velocity. So that's it. Thank you for listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace out.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed our short clip about motion.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day po.
Thank you so much.